Yeah, see the it doesn't seem like Midjourney created it. It almost seems like this has actually been shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is crazy. This
that's
is
the
so
magic.
good. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Down and Dirty. And today I have with me Shreya Sarkar. She's the creative director at The Minimalist. Advertising background, work with some phenomenally big names, Nestle, Maruti, Make My Trip, Coca-Cola, and now at The Minimalist, you are kind of leading the creative charge. And we're going to be talking about a tool, guys, that we have not talked about so far. So I'm very, very excited to have Shreya on and to discuss this. But before we get into tools and usage and all of this stuff, Shreya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. Super excited to be having this chat with you.
Same here. And let's jump right into learning a little bit more about you. So, can you take me through what a day in the life of a creative director looks like?
It's really crazy, to be
Okay.
honest, right? Because, see, as a creative director, as a minimalist, I'm managing and funding a lot of important brands that we have, right? And along with that, I also have a wonderful team of writers, designers, animators, right? And working with them constantly, very closely to create amazing work for the brands. Um, Also, right now, I'm actually in a hybrid setup, right?
Hmm.
And most of my team is, pan-India, right? A lot of them are based out of Bombay, some of them are based out of, different parts of the country. I'm based out of Delhi. So, in a day, just, getting together, making sure work happens, we communicate. So that is like a very, important part of how my day is.
Okay, all right. So you are, yes, hybrid has its own demands on the workday
Oh,
itself.
yes.
And then, so you're um, working with teams, team meetings, creative process, or rather strategy, but then also doing creative work yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how
So
much? Yeah,
essentially,
go ahead.
I'm actually a writer, right? My
Hmm.
strength is writing, and but currently my role, so the entire process is basically conceptualizing, ideating, writing, getting the work out, and that's where I think especially for a person like me, a tool like Midjourney really helps me, right? Because as a writer, I have my own limitations, right? Obviously, when it comes to design,
Hmm.
right? So that's where I feel that, since we're going to be talking about it, it
Yeah.
really helps me.
Okay, great. So we've already started with, now we know one tool that you use. If I had to
Yeah.
see your computer open and check out the tabs and or see other applications that are downloaded that are open on your, on your computer, what are some of those regular usage tools and services?
To be very honest, I am like a big fan of Midjourney, and
Mm.
Midjourney is the tool of my choice that I use constantly.
Okay.
That's because as a writer, to be very honest, as
Yeah.
a writer, I do not go to ChatGPT as much.
Hmm.
I know that a lot of people are constantly using ChatGPT, and of course, it does help, right? It reduces the work time, right? But because writing is my first love, I also encourage my team to, bring in that your own personal, your individuality in writing. So I do not use ChatGPT at all. Because I've started using Midjourney, I have also started using and exploring other AI tools to help me sort of, deal with the limitations of Midjourney. Right. So another very interesting tool that I've discovered is called Let's Enhance AI. Right. So what it does is, so essentially when you use the Midjourney tool, right, the images that you get is of a certain size. Okay.
Hmm.
And you can only use it for a social media post.
Hmm.
But if you say were to use it for a whole day,
Hmm.
it's something that we've actually done very recently. How do you scale that image to,
Hmm.
fit like a large size hotel? So Let's Enhance is also a very interesting AI tool that I personally
Very
like.
cool.
And there are also some interesting voice recording tools, right? I think uh, if you just search on Play Store, you'll get a lot of these options. Some of them are like Celeb AI voice generator, right?
Mm.
It's very cool. You just put in your own voice and you can choose the celeb's
Yeah.
voice,
Yeah.
right? So that's also interesting. Yeah.
So, okay, it seems like you are dabbling with a lot of creative tools to enhance, your creative process, right? Um, in addition to that, are you, let me ask you this. How much of your time are you spending on, how much time do you get to actually focused writing, focused creation, versus other mundane operational stuff, to-do lists, things that have to be checked off. What's the ratio?
Yeah, that is actually the challenge because a lot of my time actually goes in just conversations with clients, right? Managing the team, also checking up with the team, like are you guys okay? Are you guys having a good day or a bad day? Like we do those daily checkups with each other, right? If I
Mm.
am having a bad day, I talk about it with my team. I encourage them also to have these conversations. So a lot of the day actually goes in that, right?
Okay.
And so like you asked, right, the creative process is something I actually do not get a lot of time for it. So
Mm.
say in a day, like 60% is admin meetings, uh, dealing with escalations or issues or getting things done. And say 40% I just block my calendar and I focus time dedicatedly to doing
Yeah.
something creative.
Yeah. So when it comes to team management, just for a second before we talk about, Midjourney and your creative process, are you a Google person? I mean, is your company a G Suite company, or is it a Microsoft company? As an example,
Yeah, essentially G Suite, right? But with a lot of clients, etc., we also use Microsoft.
use Microsoft.
Yeah,
And what
right.
about productivity stuff? How are you, in addition to just, are you, I'm assuming Zoom or some kind of online communication because you're hybrid,
Yeah.
right? What are some other ways in which you're working with your team? Are you guys using Slack? What's your chat? What's the way in which you're communicating on a regular basis? Are you managing tasks? And if so, are you using any productivity or task management tools?
Yeah. So yes, at the Minimalist we use Slack, right? We are encouraged to use Slack and not like WhatsApp each other, just to
Mm.
create a that balance, right? Like personal
Mm.
life and work life balance. So essentially we use Slack, and I just really want to mention my agency, the Minimalist, and say that the kind of um, a lot of people have actually started, going back to office like 5 days a week, right? Because they feel that enhanced productivity, it can only happen when you're physically present, right? But
Mm.
the Minimalist is honestly, it is a, very tech-led company, very creative company, and even the way we work sort of mirrors that, right? So we have a lot of workshops, right, in the agency, but
Mm.
it's not like it's only, the agency is headquartered in Bombay. So it's not like, you have to be physically present, right? So there is a very interesting tool that I discovered during one of these workshops held by the agency called Miro, right?
Okay.
Miro. So
Mm.
basically what it does is, if you're in a workshop and you're physically present, you're going to be writing things down, right? But if you're online, you can write these things down in Miro. So you
Mm.
can have like an experience as if you are there with everyone and you are part of the workshop. So that is a tool I also really like to use with my team.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, Miro is pretty powerful to have that kind of whiteboard,
Yes,
blank canvas.
exactly.
Let's just start from, I mean, you could use a template, but you could also start
Yeah,
with, okay, let's just start throwing ideas and put these virtual post-its on and see where it
yeah,
takes us. So, okay, it seems like mm, none of this is really surprising because you're a creative agency. A lot of it is probably uh, built around your interaction is built around collaboration, brainstorming, thinking about ideas, and then distilling that down to a short list, I imagine. And then of course going away and then doing your own thing and then
yeah,
coming
yeah,
back and discussing.
yeah,
So okay, all right. So we are going to be talking about Midjourney, And let's start by you giving me a sense of how or what are the use cases for Midjourney as a creative director.
Right. So I think the best use case currently for using Midjourney is moment marketing, right? The reason I'm saying that is because obviously when we do moment marketing for brands, everything has to be very spontaneous, right? You have to, like, say at I think at 6 p.m. India won the Asia World Cup, right? So um, um, at 6 p.m. you have to think and you have to get something out by say 7 p.m. Right? So that is how fast you have to be. Sometimes with say the entire Chandrayaan thing, you know that this is going to happen, right?
Correct.
So you can keep thinking of ideas. But say if it's a match, you don't know what's the outcome, is India winning or not. So in such cases, right, I feel that Midjourney is amazing because when it comes to designing, when it comes to creating an image, that is where a creative team takes the maximum amount of time, right? You can think of a line very quickly, you can think of something witty very quickly, but designing takes time. But thanks to Midjourney, you can actually get that image in 10, 15 minutes. Then you put in your line and you can just put out your moment marketing post. So for me, I
And
think that's amazing.
okay, so it's called moment marketing. This is a new phrase. I didn't know this was a phrase. Okay, so moment marketing completely makes sense in the context of how you described it. All right. And when, let me ask, I'm curious, if this is helping you design faster, then how is this received by designers on the team? Because on the one hand, it seems like it's bittersweet. On the one hand, the pressure is off. You're like, okay, I don't need to like scramble last minute. Like I have a window of 30 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes to like put something out. But on the other hand, the work is being done by somebody else. And so where is the intervention? Is there intervention? I mean, yeah, what kind of interventions and what have your designers said to you about AI helping out?
No, I completely agree. And in fact, like I said about ChatGPT before, as a creative person, when, such things are really popular, you wonder that, am I not going to be relevant anymore, right? Like it is something that I think every writer and designer has probably thought of at least once with, these AI tools coming out. But what I keep telling them, right? And we've had this discussion, right? We've talked about it because I've also felt similarly with ChatGPT, right? But the thing is that when it comes to any generative AI tool, right? It is you need the human touch, right? As you need to still think of the idea. The image can be generated, the words can be generated, right? But the ideation and the thinking is still very human. Right? If I go to ChatGPT and say, give me a script of say one coffee brand, I will still get a very generic script, right? Similarly with AI, I will still get a very generic image. So that's why I keep telling everyone, I keep telling my team that going ahead, those who can use these tools smartly are the ones who are going to still stay very relevant. So it is important to understand that.
So the need for the same amount of designers, has continued, as in it's not led to a change in the team makeup? Midjourney?
Not at all. Not. In fact, what it has done is it has enhanced productivity. And see, even a lot of designers also have a lot of limitations, right? The kind of stuff that is generated using Midjourney, it will take a designer days, right? I mean, I'm just being gentle, days to actually get them. So it helps them experiment as well. And I think that's what is exciting a lot of people.
Okay. All right. So one use case is moment marketing. Is there another use case or is this the big one?
I think another thing is, how crazy can you think? So I think another thing is that, there is no limit to your imagination now, right? We actually recently did a very interesting Gen AI campaign for a sustainable fashion brand, right? And it was the result of a hackathon actually. So essentially, we had a hackathon where we came together, and the task was to use Gen AI tools, right? And the idea that came out of it, so we had judges, sort of rating the work, and one of them. So at the end of the competition, he said that, my wife has a sustainable fashion brand, and I think this idea will be amazing for my wife's
Wow.
brand. Yeah, so that's how that happened. And we were just thinking that we did that work in a span of like 4, 5 hours, and
Yeah.
couldn't have imagined having done that so
Yeah.
quickly.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay. All right. So inspiration, this allows you, this is like this big sandbox where you can start like just trying out different things and
Mm,
see what works, make different figures.
yeah,
And okay, all right.
absolutely.
So one is inspiration, and the other one is actual output in terms of moment marketing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
for
okay.
sure.
So let's do a share screen and give me a few
Sure.
examples of the use case. So are we going to be talking about moment marketing? Like which use case should we pick?
Yes, so we can start with moment marketing, and
Okay,
then I could also do something very creative, like the work that you put up. I could share that as well.
great. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So essentially, this is the Midjourney platform, right? For this, we all have to sort of just quickly take you through the process. We have to have a Discord account, right? I use my company's account to explore. Um, when we come here, this can seem a little confusing because this this room is called Newbies 24, right? I'm just using this to show you some use cases,
Okay.
right? What happens is there are a lot of people here who are constantly doing things, right? So when you put in a prompt, you might lose your prompt like right away.
Okay. Okay.
So just want to start with, I think we just celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And we saw a lot of very interesting creatives. And one creative that really stood out for me, I loved, was an airline brand did like baby Ganesh sitting in the plane having modaks, right?
Okay.
So imagine someone has thought of this. So how do you go about
Hmm.
generating an image like this, right? So first you have to do when you do like the slash thing, you get different different options which sort of come up, right? Imagine, blend, describe. These are the ones that I use the most. To
Okay.
create an image, you have to use the imagine prompt,
Okay.
right? So you sort of put in slash imagine prompt, it comes automatically. Now, then you have to get creative with what you are writing. Okay. So if I write something like this, baby Ganesha, very cute, sitting on an aeroplane, having a lot of Indian mithai, Indian sweets, because I don't think they will register a word like modak, right? Indian sweets. And then I just put in some clues like HD. And I also put in 16:9, which is going to be the ratio of them, right? And I just have to put in this thing, and then I sort of press enter. Okay. And now we sort of have to wait and see what image got generated,
And
right?
not lose the thread.
Yeah, you can't you can't lose the thread because so what we do is we have a minimal team room where we
Ah.
create the images, but for our conversation, I'm using the common room. Yeah. So
Oh wow,
any
this reminds me of an like embryo. You're like, okay, like when you're just pregnant, it's like there's just like just cells, and then you start like over 9 months you start seeing a baby.
it's a very interesting description. Yeah. So as you can, yeah, yes. So this is the prompt we gave, and as you can see, we have some very cute images in a span of 5 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
say if
Wow.
you're okay, yeah. So you can see there are some flaws in the the third and the fourth are appealing more, right? Like for example, the fourth one is appealing most to you.
The
So what
bottom,
you
the bottom right, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
the bottom right. So there are all these options here, U1, U2, U3, U4. So you go to U4 and you click on this. So then they will essentially just give you that image.
And what is V1, V2, V3, V4?
So V1, V2, it's the aspect ratio. So you are sort of defining like how detailed you want it to be, etc. So I'll just show you the U4 and I will show you some. Yeah, so this is the U4, okay? Like this one. This is the
Okay.
image that
Okay.
we like the most, right? Now, here again, there are some options that you have. Like, for example, you have zoom out, 1.5 zoom out, 2.x, vary. So very strong and subtle region is something that I don't explore with a lot because it sort of means that you have to change a particular part. So if you're not okay with the seat, you can actually change the seat and you can make it like different color or something else. Right. So
Got it.
I personally haven't experimented a lot with that, but I'll just show you a zoom out feature.
Yeah. Also, I think, like it's saying that, sometimes it depends on your subscription also, right? I think they've just given us a message that, due to extreme demand, we can't provide a free trial right now. So there are certain things that come into play. Like sometimes so many people are doing the work that maybe one prompt is enough. But just wanted to try the zoom out. I'll just try it again.
Do you guys use the paid version?
Yes.
Have you subscribed? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So this is at a company level, this has been adopted, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So we are also trying a zoom out version to see, how it's gonna go. Yes, so while this is happening, and it's possible it might take some time, just wanted to show you something else also, which I really like to do, is blend two images together, right? So I'll just show that. So like I said, there are different prompts that you can use. Imagine, blend, describe. Okay, so I think I'll go with describe. So I'll just tell you about this one. So what happens is sometimes when I see a very interesting image that has been done using Midjourney, I often wonder that, what is the prompt, right? Like how did we, how did they put in the prompt or what did they do different, right? So there is something very interesting here called describe, okay? So essentially you click on describe, right? And if there is a particular image that you really like, you ask Midjourney, tell me the prompt, like what was the prompt behind this, right? So let me upload one image for this. So this is a very, close-up shot of a ball, right? And one limitation of Midjourney is producing very realistic people images, right? So, so I'm curious to know that, how you put in a prompt like this. So I upload the image and then I just hit enter. Yeah, and it's shown me the different prompts, right? Like a woman with freckles and blue eyes in the sunlight, and the style of ray tracing. This is not something that I'm aware of, so this is new to me. Digital art technique, Norwegian nature, photorealistic, intense texture. So it's a very, it's a very good way of understanding that how do I make my prompts better, right?
And would you say Midjourney is able to share these prompts with you because they're collating so many prompts on Discord that they're able to pull that together? So it's not like it's not ChatGPT that's generating. Actually, ChatGPT is also synthesizing information that already exists, and that's what Midjourney is doing. Is it's surfacing to you information that already exists. Okay, theek. So this is fantastic. So if you were to do the same thing with an Indian avatar, you would do something similar, but change the freckles and the blue eyes to brown hair and brown, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So here, for example, I mean, ray tracing, this is not a term that I was aware of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or the fact that, I have to write UHD image, right? So these are interesting. Also, in some of them, it's saying that 32K. It's also giving me the aspect ratio of how the image should be.
Mm.
So, I think this is a very good way for us to understand how do we make our prompts better. And while that was happening, I think the Ganesh,
I saw the zoomed out. It actually looked quite
yeah,
nice. Zoomed out.
yes. So Ganesh got zoomed out, and so U3, right? But I'll tell you the interesting thing about the zoom out feature is there is also something called custom zoom. Okay, so
Hmm.
essentially, if I want to do something behind Lord Ganesh, I can do that. I will not tamper with an image of God. I will instead generate something else to show you the power of that prompt. So, for example, if I do imagine prompt, a man is sitting. Um, Actually, let me like tell me if it's too many prompts and too many things that I'm explaining. But
No, it's not. I'm fascinated.
okay, so
Let's do
then
one more for sure.
yeah, so then there's something called blend. Okay, so essentially you take two images and you blend it together, and the effect
Hmm.
is amazing. So for that you use the prompt blend, where you sort of have to choose two images, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm choosing a man sitting on a sofa,
Hmm.
and I'm choosing the an iconic image of Bombay. So say
Okay.
I want to generate an image where a man is sitting in front of is in front in Bombay, right?
Hmm.
So what I do is I put these two images together. I put the blend prompt,
Hmm.
and then I just hit enter and let Midjourney.
So while this runs, would you say that these prompts describe, blend, and create? Was it not?
Imagine,
Imagine. Okay.
yeah,
Um, these would come in handy for either of your use cases, right? Whether it's for innovation, creativity, sparking, or whether it is for moment marketing, you can just use these prompts to generate images depending on your time frame. I mean, time frame
absolutely.
is a separate thing altogether.
Yeah, 100%. So even if I'm, say not just for moment marketing, right? Even
Mhm.
if I want to create a mood board, right, where say I want to tell my agents, tell my brand that this film is going to be shot in front of say Bombay, and we basically have a man sitting on the sofa, etc.
Mhm.
So creating that mood board might take a lot of time, right? Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
Photoshop involved, etc. But like you can see here, I'm just going into do one. I'm just showing you the different images that came, right? And say I go to do one. So
So we
I also,
actually, huh?
yeah, see the like it doesn't seem like Midjourney created it. It almost seems like this has actually been shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is crazy. This is
that's the
so
magic.
good.
Yeah. So and if
So your pitches rather are a third use case, correct? Because you have your moment
yes,
marketing,
absolutely.
you have your creativity, and then you have your pitches.
Yeah. Because, yeah, so this image now it can get even more fun. I'm sure we are at the end of this conversation, but I just want to show you something really fun. So if I do custom zoom, right? I press custom zoom, and I want to do something bizarre, right? Like I want to say, this man sitting on a sofa in Bombay is getting eaten by a dragon. Okay. Like I'm just going wild here. So I use custom zoom, and right here I put in the words man is or something like dragon is eating the man. So when the image zooms out, we'll see the man sitting in on a sofa in Bombay, and there is a dragon potentially about to eat the man. So that is how wild you can get.
The cool thing about having a Discord group for Midjourney is you're seeing everyone else's creation too in real time.
Exactly.
This is
Yeah,
crazy. There's
absolutely.
someone sitting there just like putting in these prompts, and you're even seeing what they're
Absolutely.
prompting. You know,
Absolutely. And that's the thing also, right? When you see these things, now you also get inspired, right? And you also start thinking, out of the box. So, like, you can see something exciting is happening. I hope the dragon looks. Yeah, so it hasn't come out like perfectly, like like I really wanted it to be the man is sitting and the dragon is right behind it. So we'll have to do a bit of experimentation on that, but
I
yeah,
get the
so,
point. I get the point of what you try to do.
you can do so much. Like I'm just showing you, like you can do some really crazy things in a span of 3-4 minutes.
Okay, this is fantastic. And I wish I could keep going on, but I want to ask you a few things now about what we just talked about. One of them is, can we just take can you tell me where, so clearly there are limitations. For example, you've got to keep working on the image, makes sense. Are there any other places where you find it not satisfying or where you have to go, let me ask you, where you've got to go somewhere else to fix some part of what Midjourney's done? So what's that?
So I think one biggest limitation that I've seen is when it comes to, and this is very strange and it has been spoken about a lot, is fingers, right? Human fingers, right? The image is going to be amazing, like girls sitting, but her fingers are going to be really strange, right? It's very weird because there's an entire Alice in Wonderland book that somebody made recently using Midjourney, but everything's great. It looks beautiful, right? But her fingers, Alice's fingers look like claws, right? It does, and this is very strange. Like this is very strange that the details of fingers or say toes, those things I've noticed. It doesn't come out.
In fact, wasn't something going around on LinkedIn where they were saying, okay, Instagram, spot the AI generated image, and all of them, the things that you could spot were the nuances of like the fingers, the nails, an extra hand which you wouldn't notice.
Exactly. So these are certain limitations that are there, and because we were talking about use cases, I just want to take 2 minutes to share something very interesting that we did using Gen AI. So this, if you can see my screen, is a campaign that we did for a sustainable fashion brand, right? And the idea is essentially killer fashion, right? Fast fashion kills animals, right? So what we did is we generated these images of, tigers, endangered animals, right? And we put very interesting thought and sort of did this entire, 360 campaign saying that, stop killer fashion. So these were some of the images that we created, and then we also made codings, right? Like we are 100% of planet, right?
So, this is amazing. And you did all of this using Midjourney?
So yes, I mean the copy was written by us.
Of course, right.
But everything from A to Z was done using Midjourney.
So let's just pause here for a second. So let's say this got created in Midjourney.
Yeah.
What happens next with this image? Like, or let's talk specifically. I don't know if how deeply you were involved in this campaign, but let's say this thing, it rendered this image. Then what happened next? Did it have to go for cleanup somewhere else? Or did you literally download and say, this is awesome, we have the copy, let's put it on, and now let's go to Let's Enhance, so it becomes a big billboard size and we're good to print?
So this is the campaign I was telling you about. That was a result of hackathon. So
yeah.
me and my team were wonderful, my wonderful team. So we jammed, we thought of the idea, we came up with this. And the process was a huge learning curve for me and my team. So we generated this image, okay? It took us a long time to get this image right, okay? Because, essentially we are showing a sea animal wearing a very gorgeous dress, and there's nothing in the background, right? That is also very tough to actually achieve. So it took us a while. We put in the prompt, we got this image. Then my designer used Photoshop to place the text, right? The text and everything we wrote ourselves, place the text, right? And then we use Let's Enhance to make this into a giant coding. So this is a coding sized table. We use Let's Enhance to, right? And if I can show you, so these are some of the, the visuals that we made, right? Again, here we had a tough time with the fingers, like the orangutan's fingers.
So how did you deal with that? How did you deal with the fingers?
We got a lot of images, and if you see in this one, her fingers are actually hidden, right? It's not very, like her palms are closed.
So it's not like a designer came in to fix something.
No, we haven't tampered at all.
Okay, so this is fantastic. What you're saying is you could create a campaign with Midjourney images. You of course need a designer to make tweaks, especially laying out the entire, putting the logo, laying out the text, or just making sure it's all synced up and put in the right place, right? Exactly. Visually speaking. And then you let
show you a video that we made, which nothing was done by anyone. This is totally Gen AI except the script. The entire video was done using should I play it?
Yeah, this was using Midjourney?
No,
I thought Midjourney is only images.
Some other tools. The images we got from Midjourney, and then we used a few AI tools to generate the voice, and I'll just show you.
Okay. I can't hear the audio.
So essentially, there is a voice over, right? That of a tiger's voice, and the lip movement, everything. So everything was done using AI tools.
That is amazing. Okay, so now it makes sense. When the Minimalist is positioning itself as a very cutting edge, innovative, creative agency, then the fact that you're kind of incorporating all of this is, you're living up to what you're promising you do. So that makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious, how did you come across Midjourney? Was this just part of the wave of ChatGPT and our awareness with AI?
So here I actually have to totally credit my the founders, co-founders of the Minimalist, Sahil Redya and Chirag Linger. Right, they are crazy mad hatter creative people, and they are themselves super interested in implementing tech in regular work, right? So constantly driving us to use these tools to just increase our productivity. That is something that they are responsible for. I would honestly never have experimented so much with this had I say not been in this agency. Had I been a part of like some other place. And the best part is they actually, just to sort of encourage us to learn this quickly. They we had a hackathon, right? And the task was to use it and do something. So. Yeah.
It's a very good motivation. I mean, it's a good, and it's a good outcome of the hackathon. Forget the actual solution, just to be exposed to a different tool and a different way of doing something. Fantastic. Okay. I want you to complete the sentence for me. Midjourney is a great tool for people who want to dash.
Who want to use their imagination to create ideas which are meaningful and impactful.
Okay. But it is not as good if you want to do dash.
Yeah, but it's not as good if you want to, just take a shortcut to, just not doing work. It's not for that.
Because it still requires some intervention and requires some cleaning up. And
like I said, if you use your thought process to use it smartly, you can make something good. So it's always better to do that than be lazy and just say,
Correct.
hey, generate this.
Yeah. So anyone who is watching this, who's doing moment marketing, it's not like you can just feed it a prompt and you're done. You know, like your moment marketing campaign is ready to go. There's a little bit more, there's oversight is what you're saying that is going to be required.
Yeah, because, I'll tell you one thing. The thing is that it's very important to put an idea in, because everyone will be using the same generative AI tool, right? So I can see maybe I will see 5 moment marketing posts with a very similar, it's very similar images, but the one that is the smartest, right, in terms of the idea, copy, etc., that's the one that will stand.
Correct. Makes sense. Okay, so the only thing I have, Shreya, is a rapid fire round. And it's very, very low key. You know, I'm not going to ask you any tough questions. It's all personal. Are you ready? And I'm not going to ask you to quote any authors or name any books, so don't worry about that. You ready? Okay, all right. First question. Name one thing on your bucket list.
Traveling a lot more than I'm.
Okay, all right. Which social media platform are you most active on?
Instagram.
Okay. What comes to mind when I say happy?
My dogs. I have 2 dogs, and I think it doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having. My dogs always feed.
Nice. Do you believe in karma or coincidence?
I would say a bit of both. Right? I do believe that what you give out is what you get back. So I believe a little in karma.
Okay. All right. That was it. Is there anything that we've not touched on, Shreya, that you want to talk about before we call it a day?
No, I think I don't know. I hope I didn't cram this entire conversation with too much. But like I said, if this was my process, and honestly, I think as a person, I love learning. Right, that is something that I feel very kicked about. Despite having spent like a few years doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I would like to tell anyone using this tool is that it's very important to not be scared. Right? Automatically we get scared of change. It's very natural. But yeah, don't be scared. Experiment, have fun. That's it.
And if you are scared, then tell your founders to have a hackathon. So you'll be forced to get exposed to that. By hook or by crook, it'll happen.
Yeah, it will happen. Yeah.
All right, Shreya, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out on a Saturday to do this. But I'm completely inspired. In fact, I think I'm going to go and play around with it. I have not done it so far. I've heard a lot about Midjourney, but now you've kind of given me the starting point to go do this.
All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.